Club World Cup. It's its 11th edition. We're excited, aren't we? Because this decides the best club in the world.
Without a doubt.
Now,
undisputed.
There's some cynicism in my voice. Is that fair?
Possibly.
We'll get to that. But first of all, explain exactly how it breaks down. How many teams have we got?
So we've got 7 teams. We've got 6 winners from the various Champions Leagues across the world on all the different continents, plus a team who are the champions of the league of the host nation, which in this case is Morocco. So you've got champions of Morocco and then the best of the best from the rest of the world.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know where to begin. Do you want to start us off? San Lorenzo. Going to give us a little bit of a preview on them. Where do they come from?
So they're from Argentina. They're the Copa Libertadores champions. They're going to be going straight into the semi-finals along with Real Madrid in the other semi-final, and they are supported by Pope Francis, which is
helpful?
It's pretty useful actually, because they won the first league after Pope Francis became Pope, and then the first Libertadores after that. So
make of that what you will.
And they were founded by a priest after he saw a boy get hit by a tram playing football in the street, so he decided to make a club.
Linked. Spiritual.
There you go.
He's quite tall as well, isn't he, Pope?
I think so, possibly.
6'1"? He could do a job as a centre-back.
What are you suggesting?
No, I just think he could do a job as a centre-back.
No, he's a fan, and as I say, once he became Pope, things have gone well for them. This is their first Libertadores as well. They were a bit of a laughingstock in Argentina for always coming up short, but they beat Nacional in the final this time. A goal from Nestor Ortegoza.
Yeah, you told me something brilliant about him off air.
Well, it was he scored a penalty, and that's no coincidence. He scored 26 penalties out of 27 attempts in his career. Bit of a specialist.
Sort of Lambert style, Letizia.
Pretty much, and it all comes down to when he was a youngster growing up. Him and his uncle Miguel would on a Friday night they would spend between the hours of about 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. just hustling for money at penalty shootout competitions.
Amazing.
So you just go down and
I was like, is that responsible or not?
Well, it's worked out, right, hasn't it? It's worked out. You know, now he's scoring goals in the Copa Libertadores final. But you go down every Friday night. Apparently, he used to watch his uncle play, and then he learned the trade, and then he'd go and practice in the street, aiming at trees. And now, and then he'd play, and apparently it was the best way to get money for food and clothes and all that kind of little extras, bit of extra pocket money. Just
nice story, isn't it? It's probably healthier than poker, I guess.
Yeah, we've all done a bit of hustling in our time, but I don't know what the setup is, because it's not like hustling for pool in a bar where you can go and.
I'm not quite. I think you just go to a goal, I suppose.
Hey guys.
You just go down. You just go to a goal on a Friday night at 10 o'clock and stay there for 8 hours.
Yeah, we could do it. We could go down to like a car park tonight, like B&Q. Yeah. It would be like Fast and Furious, but with penalties. Anyway,
slow and damp.
Let's move on. What other teams, more the minor teams, are you excited about?
Well, as I say, San Lorenzo is one of the bigger ones. I should mention they almost got relegated 2 years ago, so it's a real turnaround for them. Probably the smallest team in it are Auckland City FC, representing the Oceania group. They've only been around for 10 years, founded in 2004. They play in the New Zealand Domestic League, which is actually an amateur league, so the majority of players in that league have full-time jobs. But having said that, they've won the Champions League in that area of the world the last 4 times in a row.
You might not know this, I don't know, but Australia's moved, right, to the Asian for the Asian Champions League, so presumably that's helped them significantly nail down.
Possibly, I think they beat a team from Vanuatu in the final, which I don't know what the quality of Vanuatu is.
It's a lovely volcanic island, and it's good for honeymoons, but I haven't researched the football.
Well, they got to the Champions League final, so they must have been fairly
handy.
But,
I don't want to be dismissive.
In terms of their league, generally, the big derby there attracts sort of 1,500 to 2,500 people, so it's not the most followed league. But having said that, this is their 5th Club World Cup, and they've actually had a couple of decent scalps. In 2009, I think they beat Al Ahly of the UAE, who were hosting it at the time, and they also beat TP Mazembe, powerhouse from Democratic Republic of Congo, who were the African Champions League winners at the time, and they managed to beat them. So they've had a few big scalps in their time. Okay,
so some props to them. I'm going to have a go now. Fortunately, I have a clipboard, so I can pronounce this correctly. Moghreb Tétouan. So the Moroccan champions last season. So they didn't have to win a Champions League because they're a host. They go straight through to the Club World Cup. Quite a few interesting things.
And we should mention that they're playing Auckland in sort of the pre-qualifier before the quarters.
So they need to win that to get into the quarters. So their coach is called El Amri. He's done a pretty good job, been there for 4 seasons. Won 2 leagues. When he first came in, he was actually given the task of avoiding relegation. So that's not too bad. But they had a crisis. They had a club crisis in 2011 when how many players? I think it's 14 players. 14 of the senior players went, "We're not getting paid. See you later. Bye bye."
14.
So they didn't play, and the club weren't like normally the club just chip in with some cash, get like a payday loan.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out for them. Instead, they just went, "Okay, we'll just integrate our whole youth team into our senior team," which they did.
Crikey.
And the following season, they went on to win the league, which
With
is
the
impressive.
youngsters?
Yeah, so it was kind of like a forced youth policy, and that's sort of, if we preview them today, that's partly what's exciting about them. They're very, very adventurous, have no fear, as we always say with young players, but also they totally lack experience. But they are really easy on the eye. I can't say I've watched too much of them, but I have been watching a couple of YouTube clips, like extended highlights of some of the games that they played in the last year. And tiki-taka, that's what I can say to you. They bloody love a short ball pass. Back and forth continuously.
Club accountants all over North Africa must be rubbing their hands at that story.
Oh yeah,
It worked for these guys. Just get rid. Start again.
I know. Yeah,
Clean
it's like
slate.
normally we should be frowning upon it really, but I mean ultimately they found something that works for them. And what should I look at? SES Sétif. So we're talking about these guys before, haven't we?
Yeah, winners of the African Champions League, who are awaiting the winner of that game between Auckland and that team you just mentioned in the pre-qualifier.
That team. Oh, I should say about them. So yeah, they're Moghreb Tétouan, but they have a motto, and I can't quite work out what it means. It's whatever the colour of your shirt, Tétouan will have you for dinner. Now, is that hospitable? Like, it doesn't matter who you are, we're going to be friendly, or does it mean we're going to have you for dinner, we're going to eat you?
I'm not quite sure.
Have you not prepared for that question tonight?
That's a curveball.
Right,
That didn't come up in
definitely is.
research.
Well, they're inviting the world of football for dinner over the next week.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
and are they going to eat them?
It's
Time-
nicely
time will
ambiguous.
tell.
That's what I like about it. But we did touch on ES Sétif there, and this kind of links to the broader discussion we're going to have for a few minutes. Is does it matter? Does it matter to the teams? They had to play 14 games to actually win the Champions League. They had to go through the preliminary games. So you can imagine by the time you get to Club World Cup, you're like, crikey, we've earned this. And what's really interesting is the Algerian FA actually had a word with them at the start of the season before they went into the African Champions League. Went, you're not that good. Are you sure
Really?
you want? Are you sure you want to go in to represent us? Literally, they're just that's what happened. It went, yeah, we do. And look what they've done. So
Right.
yeah, they must have had a weak squad or not look particularly strong. But a lot of people, a lot of pundits who cover the Algerian game, so they reflect almost eerily the Algerian national team, who have obviously been incredible in the last year or so. Just brave, courageous, quick, skillful. So they could be a team to look out for as well.
And a very easy journey as well, very convenient to get to Morocco.
Yes.
In case that's going to be an issue.
Invited to the meal.
Same for Madrid as well. It's kind of in the middle there, isn't it? They must all be thrilled.
Madrid have
rather
been a
than
bit. I know we're not supposed to talk about them too much because they're Real Madrid. We know them. They've been a little bit diva-ish, I think. They're only like flying in like the day before because they don't want to train on the Moroccan training pitches because they're scared of picking up injuries. And they've already sent out their groundsman, who's English actually, signed 2009 from Arsenal. Big signing. I don't know if it was the last day of the season, but you don't hear about this, do you? Just on the ticker tape going under through. Because he's worried about the pitches, so he's gone there a few weeks in advance to make sure they try and avoid injuries.
They could always pop down and just get the boat over from Gibraltar, couldn't they?
Yeah, it probably is a very, very short journey. I can't imagine the Spanish champions would be going through Gibraltar.
Yeah, you're probably right.
There's a story.
Speaking of travel, and Air Miles especially, a competition which should be sponsored by Air Miles is the Asian Champions League, purely for the sheer scale of that place. Western Sydney, he only won it about 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Straight into the hat, straight in the pot. They go in the second round, don't they?
They're playing Cruz Azul, yeah. From
They're my
Mexico.
favourites.
But yeah, Western Sydney. You say Auckland City are only 10 years old. Western Sydney only 2 years old as a club.
That's hard to get your head around.
They beat, I think this is Al Ahly.
This
in the
jumper's
final.
4 years old.
Exactly.
It's Al Hilal.
Al Hilal.
Yeah,
Do
in Saudi
apologise.
Arabia.
Similar colours to Western Sydney as well, but twice as old. Your jumper.
All right, mate. All right, mate. Can we follow them as a group? We like Western Sydney Wanderers, don't we? You know,
Those
against
are
all
real-
odds, they're just tough, incredibly well disciplined. They get a job done. Who's to say they can't get to the final? I think last year the Moroccans something Casablanca. I can't remember exactly, but that was against all odds because traditionally it's South America versus your Champions League winners. But just to finish off, does it matter? What do you think most people think? Is this a reputable, incredibly prestigious award?
I think it depends where you're from. I think sort of from Europe, it's kind of like a little bonus. It's almost a bit of fun, maybe. Is that unfair?
It's perhaps a hangover from the precursor of this tournament, the Intercontinental Cup,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a jolly up, usually in Japan or somewhere like that this time of year, just straight, historically it has been. It was a straight shootout between South America and Europe.
But the South American teams love it. I mean,
Yeah.
they see it as incredible that they can sort of spar against some of the best
And it's,
players in the
it's
world.
the only platform it can happen where you can have a competitive match between a South American team and a European team, other than in an international tournament. So I really like it, and so I don't watch a great amount of South American football, so it's a great chance to see the cream of the crop take on the best of Europe. And also, if we could have Western City Wanderers or something like that having a good run as well.
Well, that's key, presumably, too. That is the standard of football needs to rise at those smaller federations,
Yeah.
and then we can hope to see that. Obviously, MLS is growing strongly, the A-League's growing strongly. Would you agree that that's key to actually making sure a worldwide audience tunes in, rather than just fans of the teams themselves?
Possibly, I think if you had some stronger teams, it's a strange. We could maybe touch on it with Nathan later. I know we're going to talk about MLS, but MLS teams have always historically struggled in the CONCACAF Champions League. I think it's a lot to do with the calendar and how the MLS season doesn't quite fit with it, but. So if you can get the more bigger, stronger teams you can get in there, the better. Because at the moment, it's very much a case of you just expect the European team to walk their semi, and then maybe it's a bit trickier in the final against the South American team. But you never know. But I remember when Chelsea were in it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly. You're a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
I really enjoyed it, and it was annoying when Chelsea didn't win, but I wasn't that.
Okay. And finally, just really quickly, Paddy, they need a theme tune as well. Anything you can think of, top of your head?
That is a curveball.
Around the world?
Love Train. People all over the world join hands.
Oh my goodness, that's almost certainly the best possible answer.